welcome to Liquid Lunch. It's coming at you on a Friday, and that means Hildegard's here, and it's me, Hugh.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Well, it's always great to have you, Hildegard.
Thank you for the opportunity. And today we have a very interesting conversation.
Yes, we're starting out with the Myrtle Sobers, and we're glad to have you here, Myrtle. Nice to meet you. And
thank you very much.
Looking forward to this.
We were just talking earlier how divinely guided we bumped into each other at an event where neither one of us was actually supposed to be.
Exactly, yes.
And I understand that this is what you really love talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But more on a personal note, would you please give us a little bit of a background? How did you get into this topic of dementia? You're working as a personal support worker in a nursing home, I understand. And I understand you had some difficulties personally with this very issue, and you have experience with that from the how do you give care to a loved one who struggles with this.
This is going to be really good for people who are trying to deal with loved ones who are suffering from dementia, right, Myrtle?
Yes, it is. And I would love to share my story. Talking about divine intervention is nursing, as I would generalize it, is not something that I am comfortable with, and it's not something that I had planned on doing. But however, coming to this country, I had to leave everything behind and so find a job. And I happened to be in nursing. But being in the field, actually, and being with Alzheimer's and dementia patient, it's sort of a clash with the fact that my mom had dementia. And so it allows me to get the information and use that as a vehicle so that I can write my book. So when I connect the dots, I realized that I wasn't doing this job by chance.
So there was a reason for you being guided in a certain way.
Yeah, it is most certainly a guided direction to be working in this area.
So what happened with your mom then? Were you aware that she had dementia, or were you not aware at all?
We were not aware that it was dementia. As a matter of fact, Alzheimer's and dementia is a bit different. So what she had was Alzheimer's. And at that time, we had no knowledge whatsoever about the disease. And even if we take her to the doctor and they knew, maybe they didn't, I don't really understand it at this point, but we still wasn't getting the information that we had, that it was this particular disease.
So now what did it show up as? You took your mother to the doctor. What was at the reasoning behind it? What went on in Mom's life that made you take her to the doctor in the first place?
We thought she was going crazy. We thought she was thinking, at that time you overworked yourself and then you get mad or crazy, and that was how she was reacting. Because dementia reacts differently in different people.
And it can be very subtle too, can it?
Yes.
Like you can go
for a long time,
and even people don't even quite realize that you might have it,
exactly, right? Especially in the stage 1.
Yeah.
Within that stage, you can have it especially now that there's a lot of information and help or discovery into the medication.
It seems like more and more people are getting aware of it.
Yes.
And like you were saying, in the past, people might have just thought Alzheimer's was people going crazy, right? Now we have a diagnosis.
That's right. That's right.
So let's just talk briefly. I would like to get into really what is dementia, because a lot of people probably don't know. But also because your mom had Alzheimer's, and yet you're working, and your book is about dealing with people with dementia.
Yeah.
Can you just first of all talk about the relationship between those two and maybe how they're different or how they're the same?
Alzheimer's is it is a set of behaviors, and it is similar to that of dementia. Now you can have dementia, but you don't have to have Alzheimer's. Right. For instance, if there is someone with a brain function, let's say damaged by an accident, from an accident or so, they can develop dementia by the way that they react. Right. Maybe they forget things. Maybe there's a lot of they forget faces and things like that.
So you can't recognize their loved ones when you are demented?
When you're demented.
When you're demented.
Most of the time you can't recognize people, you can't recognize your loved ones.
So how is that different than an Alzheimer's patient? They can recognize?
It's very similar. The effects, it's very similar to that of dementia. This is why it's interrelated so much. Right, but you can have dementia and don't have Alzheimer's. But what I'm trying to say, the effects is similar. For instance, the forgetfulness, the memory loss, the behavioral patterns that is not conform to normal.
Which would be what? Could you give us a specific example for how was your mother's behavior shifting that had you concerned?
She started saying things that is not normal. Like, for instance, and that's the first time we recognized that something was wrong, was she says the next door neighbor, there was a young man that lives there, and she says, "Oh, don't you see? Nizam was his name. He's coming after me. Look at, he's chasing me." And I mean, poor guy don't even know what my mom was saying, and it was really hard to hear this day after day. Then she would want to leave and go somewhere that she has to go. They're waiting for her, and it became more and more and more intense, and to the point that we were really getting frustrated, not knowing how could we help her. What do we have to do to make her quiet?
Now, are both of these conditions, do they primarily affect people as they get older? And do they always get worse? I mean, and you mentioned that the dementia can be caused by a brain injury, right? Which I guess that could affect people at any age. But are there other causes of it?
Oh, yeah. MS, different type of diseases. Depending on how long-term they are, you can sort of lean more to Alzheimer's,
right.
Not Alzheimer's, sorry, dementia, by forgetting things and not being able to eat, not being able to take care of yourself. So, yes, and you can have dementia, as my mother did, and she was very strong. She walked, and still she was not able to do things for herself the proper way, and it progressed. You never get better.
But was she living on her own in those days, or she was living with you?
Us.
Yeah.
Really,
so you actually had the 24-hour. You could see it if you're not with somebody all the time. Sometimes it's even harder for loved ones where the parent is not with them all the time. Then it's much more difficult, I assume, to catch something like that.
Because taking up from what you said, we have to work, and we have to leave her sometimes in the house. And when we come home, there are times when somebody will be bringing her back because she's not in the house. Because she was well known, and we were known in the area, they would bring her home, and that was scary. Imagine us having to go to work and not knowing if my mom was going to be home when we get back. So we had to do things like lock the gate, lock the door, so that ourselves would be comfortable.
That she wouldn't escape or do something.
That's right.
What about her starting to cook for herself and do things like that would be another concern?
That is, and it was a big concern, because and these are the things that we were picking up on, because she would light the stove and forget that she lit the stove.
That can be dangerous.
Of course it is. Yes. So we had to be alert around her all the time. So for us, we were getting sick. We were getting nervous, especially me. I was a nervous wreck. Even today, when something happened, I get scared, and I get a lot, and I feel very hyper.
Compassion, support, trauma from being, actually there are people who treat people, they could treat it as PTSD, because it's actually a close relation to it. I would like to have one of these experts to come on the show, but I read about it.
So when we take her to the doctor, I remember, and myself, he would ask, "How are you doing?" Before he asked about her, he will ask about myself. And even at that time, I didn't understand, why is he talking about me? I'm okay. Yeah. But I wasn't okay.
So that's the thing, right? And he knew that they'd put so much stress on the family or the caregivers that, he's got to be concerned about you guys as well, right?
That's right. Yes.
Well, any kind of nurturing takes a toll, whether you have a toddler or an elderly person, or you're the mom of a big family, it causes something. Now, on top of nursing and taking care of her, let's just find out what happened. So you went to the doctor, then was she put in a nursing home herself?
No, because it's our mother, and we didn't know about nursing home. You take care of your older parents.
Yeah. Doing it old school. That's the way they did.
Yeah.
Probably the way it should be, really, right?
Yes, and the fact that we didn't know that we needed to do that. Yes. We didn't know that we needed to put her away or in a more secure environment. Yeah. And so we take turns watching her, so that we didn't have a particular social life, because she was so busy, so wanting to go, so wanting to move.
It's kind of like a hyperactive child that you have to make sure doesn't flush the toys down the toilet and run away on the highway. Mm-hmm.
And then she would be yelling and shouting, because there are people after her. There are people running to get her. She wants to leave, and there is a man standing on how do we deal with that as children, and looking at your parents leading this kind of life, knowing how vibrant she was, how capable
so she was physically very healthy.
Oh, very healthy. It's just out of the blues. And now, dementia does not just come on you like that. It gradually takes over your brain, your mind, your functions,
and then what happens to the body? Does the body eventually degenerate as well, or was she in good health when she passed away?
That's right. She was still moving. She was still in good health. She could move up. There are people that can't, but she was. And so one day, someone, and up till now, I don't want to talk about whoever left the gate open. She walked out and got hit by.
That's how she passed.
That's how she got.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us a story of hospitalization and lots of medication.
Oh, yeah, she was hospitalized.
She was as well.
But it's because of the fact that she got hit by a car.
I'm so sorry to hear
all of
that.
This we did, and still we didn't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that?
It's a while. She died in 2000, so it's a little while back, So what's 15 years now? She passed.
Now that was in Canada, or?
This happened in Trinidad. I'm from Trinidad.
So then, after that, then you decided to come to Canada?
Yes. Then my sister came first, and then we all followed.
And then you
at one time she was here, but just for a vacation, and then went back, and there's where she passed.
So what triggered you to then continue to work with people who have that challenge,
right?
And then even write a book about it?
So this is where the divine intervention comes in, because I didn't set out for nursing. I didn't start it off that way, but it just happened that I ended up in the field, and when I recognized the people that I'm working with was very much like my mom, and it gave me a whole new perspective on nursing, on caring, and because of how I had to deal with her, now I can look at someone with a different perspective, a different eye. Mm-hmm. Now I understand what they are suffering and how they are, what's going on, with them. And I can help them a lot more than I had helped my mom.
Right. So what is it for somebody who is struggling with this very topic right now? Mm-hmm. What do you say to them? Is it really better to keep your loved one with you and look after them and maybe make all these sacrifices and have somebody there 24/7? Or what is it that potentially a long-term care facility could provide that one as a loved one couldn't do? Even with unlimited budget and unlimited time, let's say in an ideal world.
No, I think we need help. Regardless of how capable we think we are, we still need that support.
That professional support.
That professional support, or even support from people who have different ideas. Yeah. One of the things I may mention here is that we hid our mom because, remember, she was mad to us, mm-hmm. And we did not want that stigma on us that mm-hmm. Our mother is a mad woman and she has mad children and so on. So we kept her as much as we can when she started wanting to move out in the house. We didn't want friends over.
So you kind of kept her issue hidden from the rest of
yes.
your circle of influence.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when now I and this is this sort of triggered me to write this book because and I will tell you the story. I was at the bank one day, but I knew I wanted to write a book. I didn't know what I wanted to write about. And I was sitting with my financial advisor, and she saw a gentleman walk through the door. And we looked up at the person together. And she, knowing that I'm in the healthcare field, she says, that man comes in here on a regular basis, but we have to call his family to get him. He doesn't know what he comes for. He just, stands there and then, So it's probably someone who always visits the bank in his correct mind, and he continued to do so even if in his demented mind. So at that point, it just hit me that sounded like my mom. And even at that time, I've never, ever mentioned the fact that my mother had Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. I have friends, I work among people, and no one knew of my mother's condition. And just there and then, I said, just watching the gentleman, tears began to fill my eyes. And I turned to the financial planner advisor and I says, I am writing a book, I have intentions to write a book, and I didn't know what I'm going to write on, but I'm going to write about my mother. And I told her the story of my mom. And that's what sort of guided me to write
So
about
was kind of
dementia.
cathartic in a way as well for you dealing with all that you have been through.
Oh, yes.
With your mom. Was it difficult to write?
It is, there is a chapter in the book. The first 5 chapters deal with her story. And I use her story to describe what dementia is all about. Instead of just talking about it, I use her story. And I feel sort of liberated. I feel free, that I work among them. Why not talk about my mother? And it was really liberating to talk about her. It was like, just... It's like venting, and when you do vent, you free yourself.
I was just going to say, it's kind of, you kind of had a lid on things for so long.
Yes.
And now you're releasing it into the world,
Exactly.
which I think personally is a very courageous act on your part to do that.
There is a story, as I said, the first 5 chapters about her. So there is a little paragraph actually of her funeral, and I play that every single day because when you're writing, you can play it back yourself. Every day I played it before I leave to go to work.
You read it, or is it?
It's on the computer.
Oh, I see.
But you have the voice.
The audio file.
The audio.
You play
file.
the audio file.
Yes, reading it back to you.
Yeah.
So I would put it on, and then I would leave. And that gave me some sort of a solace. I don't know, but I felt good.
Well, I think the love of a loved one, especially the mother, having gone through this myself, it's very difficult to get over anyway. At the best of times.
Yes.
However, having had your story and all you have done to make sure she is safe, like, how much guilt was there about, oh my God, could have, should have, would have, and she would still be alive today. Did you go through all of that? Because I think that's, of course, natural.
Did.
We all go through stuff like that, right?
That's right. It's natural to feel guilty, and we did. As a matter of fact, not hearing her was deafening. It was silent. We accustomed hearing the noise. There were times when she would throw something through the window because she is actually trying to reach out to the guy who is standing by the window. So she will
defend herself.
Yes, and by throwing something at him and go through the window, break the glass.
So the home, which we all assume is serene, that's where we can let our hair down and feel comfortable. It was actually for you the source of a lot of stress.
Oh, it was.
And noise and tantrums and all of that.
And when she came back from the hospital, it was quiet. It was deafening because the noise wasn't there anymore.
So how did you deal with that?
Well, one day at a time.
Like, could you function after the loss of your mom? How long did you have to kind of take off work or recover from this?
Actually, and that's a really good point because even though we know that she's gone, and she didn't go like that, she was at hospital and then came home sick, but wasn't able to move as she used to.
After the accident, things slowed down physically.
Right, a lot. And then gradually things deteriorated. But it gave us the time to grieve. It gave us the time to say, now is the time to, it's
so
okay.
So you kind of got used to the idea that she might not be around forever.
Exactly. And you sort of release her in the sense that she gave us a lot of time to say goodbye to her.
So what is your message? You wrote this book to help yourself, but at the same time, you have a very powerful message to share.
Actually, I wrote it for other people. I went through it myself, yes, and I gained the experience. But I would really like people to talk about, because buckling things down is not a good thing. It's unhealthy. Talk about it. Another good thing is to not keep doing things for yourself in terms of having help, get help, you know, take care of yourself. But even now at the nursing home, there are people that comes in on every single day. There was one gentleman that he had to stay away because he was getting sick. And they told him, to, lay off a little bit because it's not healthy for him.
That's a big responsibility, having to do your daily routine and then have to be sitting next to somebody in a nursing home every day for a certain amount of time. Puts a lot of extra burdens
on that person, yes. So I would like people to know that it is a disease that you don't get better. It's progresses worse, so that you can be after this person give this person all your time, even though you love them, you love and you care, but you have to take care of yourself first as well.
So Myrtle, for the people that should be reading this book are people that are dealing with loved ones or with dementia and maybe Alzheimer's as well?
I would like everybody to have an experience of what dementia is like. It's just like talking about cancer. We talk about it just carelessly because we don't have it. We don't have a sibling or friend or family without it. So it's like we don't care. But education is the key to any sickness that you're dealing with, including all dementia and Alzheimer's, because you would be surprised to know that even people with families with dementia or Alzheimer's still do not quite understand what the disease is all about, and they don't know what to expect next, and the expectation is so high. Sometimes in a facility setting like us, they can be overwhelming. The communication can be cut off because of what they think, they expect to see.
So it's not going to be easy, is what you're telling us, right? But a lot of us might have to deal with someone who's got dementia or Alzheimer's.
Someone who got it. You may know somebody who has it, and if you know about it, whether the person is related to you or not, it's the education is good, because now you will be more empathetic to the family or the person who is inflicted by Alzheimer's or dementia.
And then be empathetic with yourself and take care of yourself.
Oh, definitely.
Like the oxygen mask falling out of the airplane, put it on yourself first before you want to help somebody.
Definitely.
I guess that's really, really good advice, because we tend to forget that.
We tend to forget that, and we tend to forget ourselves, that we tend to forget our families. We have families that need us, but we tend to go after this person that is sick. We lose ourselves in the process.
Well, how can people get in touch with you? And are you available for people to speak with them as well? Is there a way for people to get a hold of you? How can they get the book?
The book is on Amazon right now. Okay. And through my website.
We've got a picture of your website here, so I guess people can just fill out that form and get a free bonus.
There you go.
Right?
Oh, okay. Actually, I was working on it last night, and I got a copy of pages, and it's just a synopsis about caring for,
Okay,
what it
so
takes
that bonus, you can read first a little bit about the book. Is that how it works? Before you buy it?
If they want, because they can download this online.
Okay.
And it's just it's a quick going through if you don't want to read the whole story. What steps, like I have here, selfless acts for the caregiver, and that is take care of yourself, ask for help, maintain your own life, step away from the feeling of guilt and self-denial. The 5 foundation of effective caregiving: love, courage, empathy, compassion, and a smile. Even though these people are sick, they can understand when you smile.
And when you truly come from the heart and respect them as another human being, not as a demented person.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Wish you much success with your work and your book. And we're looking forward to your next one. Have you on again?
Yes. It's When Angel Appear, and I want to talk about little stories like this, like just meeting,
the coincidences in life.
That's right.
Wonderful.
Well, come back sooner rather than later, okay, Myrtle? Because it's been great to have you on, and look forward to the next one.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, we're gonna take a little break, and we're gonna continue with Liquid Lunch. We got John Voss coming up. Deep tissue massage. You're going to get a big tissue massage. Or maybe Myrtle could have one.
Oh, yes, I do.
If you can stick around, yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. It's thatchannel.com.